Ladies and gentlemen, we're live. Good to see all you. Hopefully, everyone is doing well. Got a little bit of news today. Definitely, earnings are coming up, so I wanted to talk about that. And we're starting to see a flood of sales come in from a bunch of insiders. We're seeing this across the board in a lot of fintech and banking news. Hopefully, it doesn't spread too far. I wouldn't want to see it too much from the SoFi insiders, especially from the likes of someone like an Anthony Noto. But let's talk about the people who are buying and who are selling. Okay. As well as that, we're going to have a couple touch ups on a little bit of SoFi. I did create a little bit of an AI segment as well. I know that I said that I was going to do a small segment on that, and today I think will be a shorter show regardless, because we do have the SoFi weekly. So the main large debates about what SoFi has been up to this week, and just maybe I don't think we'll be getting into predictions or anything like this for SoFi this week. But I'm going to leave most of that news coming up. But there still is some stuff that I would like to cover that I don't think would be too bad for me to cover a little bit early. Okay, so first off, why don't we just talk about that SoFi's earnings first off got announced for being October 30th. Now, all of the companies are starting to come out and saying that they are starting to do earnings or scheduling their earnings. A lot of them on November 2nd, to be very specific. We're going to have a lot of different companies in the fintech space directly on that day. But earnings season is going to start as early, at least for me, coverage-wise, is going to be the big banks. That's going to be October 13th. You got the likes of the JP Morgans, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, PNC, a bunch of these ones that will be quite exciting. Noto didn't buy recently. He hasn't bought in a little bit. I'm sure if the stock goes back down into the $6 ranges, we might see a purchase from him. But yeah. Made a mistake, thought it would go down further than $7.17, ended up buying at $8 like an idiot. That's so funny that you say that's like an idiot, because I mean, if the stock does what we think it's going to do, I mean, what's the difference going to be between them? Now, I have been someone that has supported that thought process. I like to be pretty particular sometimes within my purchases. If I do feel like I have a hunch, which is not always, but SoFi has definitely been one where I want to see a 7 in front of that price tag for me to purchase. But yeah, Heinze, good to see you, my friend. SoFi to $0 or $100. Well, what's the time frame here? I definitely don't think that they're going bankrupt. That's for sure. Growth could slow. If rates stay too high and credit defaults get super high and the consumer's really worried about making additional purchases, then that could slow, but I don't see that happening or leading to a bankruptcy. I wish I first purchased at $8. I know my first purchases were in the $14 ranges. Then I felt like I was getting really, really lucky at 12, at 10, at 8, all the way down. It's just funny how that works. But why don't we dive into some things that have been going on? Let me share my screen. I'm going to show you guys what Koifin looks like from my side. So this is Koifin. This has been the newest app that I've been using, and I don't think that there's anything that I've used that has been quite as good as this. This is Bloomberg Terminal for retail investors, truthfully and honestly. And just in this one part where they're showing filings, what you can see is that as of today, we have two different filings. One from Vlad Tenev himself, the chief executive officer, which, if we can get a little zoom in here, as recently as early as, October 4th, just recently sold 83,333 shares at $9.60, which actually leads us to a price target or an amount of about $800,000 worth of this stock. All right. Also within here, we have Daniel Martin Jr., the chief legal officer, who recently, and I'm just going to pull up a little calculator here because I didn't actually calculate this, sold 11,674 shares at $9.60 as well. So that's an additional $112,000 that were sold on public markets. All right. Take with that what you will. Amit thinks I'm going right after his amazing stock here. I mean, we're actually seeing it across the board, and one of the funniest ones, and this is quite interesting. If we go to Toast filings as well, you can see all of these changes. And if we start going through them, let's actually look at this. Toast, October 3rd. I'll zoom in a little bit, or actually, that's a lot of it. Toast, this is the co-president, sold about 2,200 shares. Let's go down again. October 3rd, selling 6,800 shares. Another executive. This is the general counsel, sells 1,486 shares. Who do we got here? Chief financial officer sells 15,787 shares. Let's go down again. This is all on the same day, by the way, October 3rd. Principal accounting officer sells an additional 1,676 shares. The list goes on. It's a little bit weird, actually. And as far as I can read, these are just general on-market sales. These are just sellings. These aren't taxed from what I can see. There's no additional shares or anything brought on. There's not an additional filing to be sold. Oh, to cover tax. Okay, maybe it is, but this is weird. I haven't seen it reported like this. Like, where's your new shares? I don't see another filing coming in saying that you're receiving shares. I don't know. It's weird that all the filings can be a little bit different and they're not stagnant. I was just seeing that right before we went live. So, yeah, interesting. Just to show a little bit about this, by the way, if you are to use this software, let's just look up PayPal, just because it has really long earnings and you can kind of get a match for this. So this is how this software works. Essentially, you just see it. You can see all the pricing, all the regular charts and everything. You'd see. Oh, I'm zoomed in like crazy. That's why it looks silly. You see all the key data and everything, and then we can go down to stuff that like really matters. So let me go to do a little bit of highlighting. There we go. So then we can just look at all of, so if you guys saw my recent PayPal video and all the numbers that we recently saw, this is exactly where I took them off of. So you can see, key financials, what we're seeing right here from all the way back from, 2017. I'm sure I can even go further back than that. Yeah, 2013. So I can just go back, instead of having to go through every analyst report, I can just see back all the way from Q4 of 2013, the market caps of where that was, all of the income statements, all of the balance sheet information, cash flow, all the multiples, everything, and see where those stocks were at the time of those recordings. So then you can compare it and then also go into like the, charting history and everything. And you can do all of that as well. It is just this endless stream of data. The more I use this app, the more I'm just continuously finding, and it's just endless. Look, I can look at the price to earnings over time. You can just see it that PayPal is historically extremely cheap whenever looking at a price to sales basis, and then you can compare this to a bunch of other statistics and look at, I don't know, all sorts of data. Anyway, that's Koifin. Yeah, been using them a lot recently. JP Morgan as well, by the way, if we're talking about sales within banking and Fintech, JP Morgan just recently sold $26 million worth of shares. Not just JP Morgan, I mean the executives, most notably the chief operations officer sold quite a bit, I think about 17% of his holdings. Block, Amrita, the CFO, recently just sold 4,000 shares, $176,000. Let me bring up that as well. This was a couple days ago, sold at $44.16. Crazy. But you know what? This is this is just before earnings, I guess. Fintech is not necessarily, people are not getting all too excited about this industry. However, I do believe my poor Block position. Yeah, Block has some problems that need to be addressed, just like PayPal, where if these small, which are not small, but if they get out of hand, they become really, really big fires. Okay. If they can solve these problems, it all goes away. Stock-based compensation for Block is a definite problem. And people are just worried because, management has been saying one thing, and then constantly they are not showing that those, the directions in which they're placing stock-based compensation is going anywhere. I don't know. It's just one that I'm not currently, acquiring shares on right now, even though there's a large discount. It's just too much uncertainty right now. I'm seeing a little bit of signs that growth is going to be slowing, like in website traffic and these sorts of things, is not showing favorably to Cash App. It is showing favorably, very favorably, to SoFi, to PayPal, to Venmo, these sorts of things. We'll see. And yeah, so this is all going to sort of lie like these earnings season. It's going to get really, really exciting and hopefully not a bloodbath, because I think people and investors are just getting really worried about fintech at this point. The margins or the multiples on these stocks are so unbelievably low considering some of their growth rates. It's nuts. But oh, so one of the things, like I said, earnings season is going to be, for the most part, starting at the beginning of the end of next week and then going all the way into November and everything like this. And PayPal will be the big coverage. SoFi, I did want to cover this about earnings. I'm getting a little bit worried that I'm going to be the sole guy doing the SoFi earnings. Tevis is headed out to Vegas. Amit is headed out to Vegas. And supposedly, they're going to be hungover. They might be traveling home at that time. 8 a.m. might be really hard for them to reach. Stephen Fiorillo doesn't like to do any recordings during during weekdays, because obviously full-time job and everything, and he's on he's on the clock at that time, so he might not be there either. Okay, I'm going to try to get a team together, because I don't just want it to be me. The fun of it is the debating, everyone digging through all the numbers all at the exact same time. That's kind of what makes the fun of earnings day. Let's see how it actually goes. I'm going to try to get Chris Hager on. I'm going to try to get a couple of the people from the community. Hopefully Danny Deals will be on the channel very soon. Actually, I've been chatting with him. We finally got connected, and so man, he's funny. I didn't realize this dude loves cracking jokes. Are you bringing Alex Chris on the call? I won't be, but that makes me think, actually, I did want to potentially submit some analyst questions. From what I heard, it's actually not too hard to submit questions to earnings calls and then see if they get approved. It would be nice if, we could maybe see, a question from Future Investing community, yada, 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 from Future Investing Capital, and then see if I can get on the call. That would be really cool. Yeah, like if StockGo could come on, or data-driven investing, right? Those would be a lot of fun. However, I do know that Chris, he's pretty busy, so I think last quarter he might pop in for a little bit, hop off, these sorts of things. Getting Jeremy on for the PayPal call would be really, really cool. I don't know if he would want to be on the call during SoFi. I don't think he has anything invested or that he cares too deeply about the company overall. A Riley cameo would be so cool. If we could get Riley back on. Man, I miss Riley. Honestly, just seeing that name got me really excited. We got to get Riley back. I love that guy. I love that guy. Oh, so next week I also have a Stone Co. Not a full video prepared, but I want to do a little bit of a deep dive into Stone Co. Especially whenever we're seeing a lot of stocks trade hands in markets right now, like Vlad selling 800,000 shares or $800,000 worth of shares. Um, Picking up the one fintech that still is growing a lot, but also is buying back shares right now, $58 million, the company is. Um, it's worth seeing what they're doing, right? And seeing if we can maybe get a video, even if it's just like going through their snapshot on Koifin and just getting to see all their financials and everything. I'd love to do that for you guys. I need to learn more about the company as well. It's one that, just not covered often because it's a Brazilian company. George, member for 4 months. Continued success, Tanner. Thanks for all the content. Everyone should subscribe for the member content. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What a testimonial. For 4 months, he's been watching the content for sure. I recently just did a video with Tevis talking about the SoFi Center, going through all the different stuff. And we'll be doing that probably tonight as well with SoFi Weekly. Thoughts on SoFi going to $10 after earnings? He says that like that's been like a like an article that's recently come out. Like, hey, what are your thoughts on what this guy had to say? But those are just Dominic's words and what he. I don't think that's going to happen. Like, just think about the run up in the stock price that would need. That would be like a record breaking quarter for SoFi, and I don't think that they could possibly say anything that's going to address the concerns for people this quarter. They're going to say earnings is coming next quarter, Galileo growth returns next quarter. Operating expenses might come down. Whatever. Like stock-based compensation continues to head in the right direction. It could be a slam dunk quarter, and it's not going to answer the concerns that people are worried about the consumer. Okay, that's the problem. It's just something that SoFi cannot address directly. It's just one thing that we're going to have to see some operating expertise from Anthony Noto. Once again, these are still tough waters, and still, bump out a great quarter. We have to remember, last quarter was not supposed to be that great of a quarter for SoFi, and they did absolutely amazingly. That was a slam dunk, can I say perfect quarter from SoFi? We need another one of those. And even then, I don't think it gets to $10. You think the TGL will offer apparel with SoFi logo? I hope so. If it's built directly into their logo, which it currently is, that's what they're showcasing. Then yeah, I could see that. Jobs were super hot today. Yeah, Doug, I saw that. Crazy. They're expecting profitability by now, though. No, won't that be a catalyst? No, so they're not expecting profitability. If they hit profitability in Q3, I'm going to be stunned. So this was expectations that we had quarters ago, quarters and quarters ago. But that kind of changed once we saw Q2 numbers, because we actually stepped further away from profitability as we brought on a ton of new members. But the gap that we've created, I think, what is it, 37 or $46 million, somewhere between those two numbers, that we have to go positive from last quarter. I don't think we're going to hit it this quarter. I would like to see a step in the right direction. That would be really, really cool. And I think next quarter will really just be about the talk of what is Q4 going to bring. That is the big quarter. Q4 is the big quarter. Q3 is a very important quarter because it's going to be the stepping stone to that actual break of profitability. But I don't actually think, even if we do break profitability in Q4, that'll change the stock all that dramatically. I think it's so baked into analyst expectations. I don't think that they would ever think that Anthony Noto is wrong in assuming profitability by Q4. So, what changes stock prices are surprises. If SoFi goes profitable in Q4, I don't think that's a surprise. That's kind of that should definitely be baked in. I think what people are worried about are a surprise to the downside. What management isn't saying that's why the stock is sort of crumbling, is because all their competitors are dropping off. There's auto companies that are going into bankruptcy right now, closing down. Shift being one of them that we recently saw. Uh, Ally said that they were laying people off because they were slowing down on the lending side. There was all these sorts of things. Lending clubs said we need to slow down because losses could get worse. A whole bunch of them, right? And Anthony Noto, SoFi, is saying full steam ahead. And how can both of those be true? How can everyone else be crumbling when SoFi's not? And the funny thing is that SoFi's done this before. They did that with student loans, because whenever student loans went out from underneath them, people thought, okay, well, this company will, go away now. And they didn't. They pivoted their business completely. The marketing changed 180. It just, the comeback of SoFi surviving and thriving through that time. Originations actually during whenever you look, is it year over year or every single quarter, it never actually went down whenever looking at the full originations. The article that I'm thinking about was a Stephen Fiorillo article. He shows off those originations all the time on how we never actually dipped down, because where student loans dropped off, they were so quick to turn it around more towards a personal loan origination side. And that picked up all the slack and more. And now we're thriving. But if we go through that again, not from student loans, but from personal loans, then we should, or not that we should see losses, but that's sort of the expectation. Hopefully, that doesn't happen. Hopefully, we see growth in student loans. We will see growth in personal loans for now. It's just a matter of, are we taking on too much risk? You can always write more credit. Even JP Morgan or Lending Club or any of these companies can always write more credit. It's a matter of if you're going to get that money back, right? Understanding that is hopefully Anthony Noto's expertise. There's a lot to think about. Will their expenses towards the new golf partnership hit Q3 statements? That's a very good question. I've got no clue when they closed this deal versus when they announced it. That's something way over my head. I'm not sure. And I'm not even sure maybe anyone can answer that. That might just be something internal that they know. And I don't have connections like that. I get to hear whenever SoFi is planning on putting out a product. I don't hear anything about financials or anything like that. It's not even that I get to hear that. I just, some people reach out from time to time. Tanner, well, I'm talking about my insiders that talk. He says Tanner's a great role model to society. Which, Stephen, I called you a role model, and you said no, I'm nobody's role model. But then you say, I'm a role model. You don't get to pick and choose who's somebody's role model, Stephen. When are you launching Alternative Assets Weekly? Ask Tanner. I try every week. You're going to be waiting more weeks, my friend. Someone said we should do a alternative assets annually. I might be down for that. Let's start in 2024. There was some misspeaks saying profitability by Q4 instead of profitable in Q4. Yeah. You know what? I think there were other people that harped on that more than I did. I never really was too particular about the language. I was hopeful because of Q4, because they're always, overachievers and sandbag a lot of their numbers. So I was expecting that. What I wasn't expecting is that the net losses would go into deeper loss territory in Q2. And so that kind of made me realize that they were probably telling the truth whenever they said Q4. But we can only know that as we get more, information over time, right? Justin O'Malley said, got my friend to take out a $30,000 personal loan with SoFi for debt consolidation. Yeah, I'm going to ask you, Justin, was that just all credit cards and stuff like that? Just probably going from like a 22 or, something like that percent interest rate all the way down to, maybe 13, 12%, something along those lines. Is that correct? Put my super chat. I'm super upset about the number of thumbs ups. Oh, sorry, I didn't even see this. Smash that like button, people. I'm sure some of us buy high, but are too lazy to hit that like button. That is what is up. Smash that like button. Pump the future investing stock. Pump it high. And never sell. Thank you, Heinzie. I really appreciate that, my friend. I really do. Sometimes I'm in the stream just chatting a ton, and it's hard for me to catch some things. Okay, let me pivot a little bit. This is our first FinTech Frenzy. Name might have to change if this becomes a larger segment of the company. You can't buy stock. I'm going to assume you meant stock in future investing, but you can press the like button, and that would pump up the numbers. That's for dang sure. Can't buy stock in future investing, however. I'm pretty sure that was like a Web3 project where you could invest in creators and stuff, but that flopped because it was just based on nothing and the creators weren't getting the tokens, and I don't know, it was really weird. Okay, this is the first AI chat because this came across my Twitter, and I thought, what an amazing post. We've been talking a little bit about Unity recently. We've been talking a little bit about, how I was really into the gaming scene before I got into stocks. And I was just looking at this. Look at what AI is bringing us. DALL-E 3, which is the newest version of OpenAI's image generator. It's quite amazing, actually. And I think one of the most groundbreaking aspects to it is the fact that it can actually write pretty good words within its image creation. Before, it was able to, generate buildings and all these things and all different types of art styles and all these things. But whenever you'd ask it to write any sort of language within the thing, it would just be scrambled nonsense. And that would be one of the big tells that it was, an AI generated image. But now, what this @proper_prompter individual has shown off is that you can create game assets that usually take sometimes months to do, where creators for game assets might take a long time, paying art professionals and designers and all of these people to create what ChatGPT might be able to create in a matter of just minutes. So DALL-E 3, one of the amazing parts about this and what I really like is that it's built in directly into ChatGPT 4, okay? The paid version, I think in America, it's something along the lines of $20 per month. Very, very affordable. And versus whenever you're actually looking at making these game assets, you're asking it to make top-down pixel art RPG games on a white background, and it's able to create all of these things, and you can sort of prompt it the way you'd like. So, okay, I want to create inventories and items and all of these things. And this, just from a gaming perspective, doesn't mean too much to me. From a time save to real, world promise of publishing something that actually truly makes money, and you're benefiting off of something that DALL-E created that you don't necessarily need to give credit to, it is quite incredible. Look, it's just showing off how, this would take so much freaking time for game creators to do that took matters of minutes. Think about the multiplication of someone's time in the gaming design world, and that's just one industry that this is going to disrupt very, very quickly. all sorts of things. He said that he was just having so much fun just designing all these cool items and designs and stuff like this that you could build into your game. And then if you don't like them, if if the colors are off, if anything is off, you can always alter them, right? The way that you would tell someone else to alter things in a video game. Now, these are just easy pixel art games, but some of the most popular games in the world are pixel art design stuff like this, right? Minecraft, Roblox, all of these things you could really help build, or even 2D like Terraria or something. These are games that have sold hundreds of millions of dollars worth of copies that have massive staff to do exactly this. That was designed in seconds, or if not minutes, you know? This is just one aspect. As I find more and more, you know, reasons to show off, you know, AI, I'm going to do that, right? Because there's so many different ways, even for writers, bloggers, even content creators. What we're now seeing is AI for video that are really starting to come out. What happens whenever I can just upload my face, like what we saw with the Meta Codex thing? If anyone saw the Lex Friedman and Mark Zuckerberg, their whole face in the metaverse, and then I can code that into, hey, you know, and move my lips, move my eyelids, talk the way I would talk. And, you know, Meta is starting to use this software. You know, there was a Mr. Beast video that recently came out showing off deep fakes of him talking and trying to promote a product that was an actual scam. But imagine if he actually used that for his videos. I just think that the multiplication of all of these different products is going to be unbelievable and going to lead to a massive boom. A massive, massive boom. Steven said the amount of Robux that I buy for my nephew is ridiculous. That's too funny. I think that's the in-game currency for Roblox or Robux. Yeah, it's crazy. Kids absolutely love it, and that's where they want. That's what they want. Bob, who keeps showing up all the time, said, Tanner, your videos are boring. Dude, you're in here like yesterday, watching my video before. I don't force you to be here, my friend. Go somewhere else. But if you stick around, you gotta press the like button. Yeah, go bob on and up. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, I do have a SoFi weekly tonight at 10 p.m. The likes of Stephen Fiorillo is going to be there. Amit, Tevis, we're all going to be there talking about SoFi Center, and potentially some other news that might have popped up this week. It's going to be fun. Hope to see you all there. But until next time, bye for now.